Hey Astra Kids, and welcome back. And in today's video, we'll be talking about the full moon coming up on June 3rd, 2023. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. So before we start, just a few quick disclaimers. I am using Vedic Sidereal Astrology. So if you are using Western Tropical, you will not get the correct interpretation. So if you are not familiar with what your sidereal zodiac signs are, there is a link for that below in the description so that you have the correct information. Also, it's important that you see this horoscope from your ascendant or your moon sign. You can also use other indications to look at the horoscope, but these will be the most important. So up on the screen here, you can see the transit that is coming up here on June 3rd, 2023 at 11:42 p.m. Eastern Time. We have a full moon that is taking place in the sign of Scorpio in the nakshatra of jyeshta. So jyeshta is at the very tail end of Scorpio, and this is a very intense asterism that has a lot to do with security, with protection, with power and secrecy and occult knowledge. So very intense energy that we're coming into here on this full moon. Now the sun here is opposing this in the sign of Taurus, of course, in the nakshatra of Rohini. And Rohini and jyeshta have a very interesting relationship with one another. These are not friends at all. Rohini was the favorite of the moon, and jyeshta is the one who felt neglected and revengeful towards the moon for favoritizing Rohini. So there is this natural enmity between jyeshta and Rohini. So this is a very interesting one. As this full moon comes into jyeshta, there's a lot here around personal power and bringing things into the light. Scorpio, of course, is all about digging deep down into the mysteries of life and bringing the truth up to the surface. So this is all connected to this deep mystery, these deep questions that we have, wanting to understand the deeper meaning behind life, really getting into research. Those of you who are into researching into all of these deep occult subjects, philosophy, all of this is an excellent full moon for this. If you are born with a fixed sign prominent in your chart, so if you have Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus, or Leo very prominently placed in your chart, then this full moon will have a huge impact on you. This is especially true for those of you with Scorpio or Taurus. This can also be very powerful for those of you with a Pisces placement or a Cancer placement, as well, as it will hit those trachona houses. So this can be a very empowering full moon here. There's a lot to release and to let go. A lot of psychological work to do. When we talk about the zone of Scorpio, there are a lot of insecurities, a lot of fears, a lot of darkness that is hidden deep within. And this is all about rooting out those fears and insecurities. Jyeshta is said to have the power to rise above perils and to gain courage in battle. So this is all about gaining that inner strength, that inner confidence within yourself, overcoming your obstacles and fears and rising to the occasion. Now, if we look at the ruler of this Scorpio sign, it is Mars, which has gone into the sign of Cancer. It's debilitation. Very tricky position for Mars. It is in this conjunction with Venus, which is giving some support to this. But again, Venus isn't completely happy in the sign of Cancer either. So this really is a very emotionally charged full moon coming into this. This Mars energy in Cancer gets debilitated because there's a high degree of emotion. So in terms of taking action and impulses, all of this is charged up with emotion. So you want to be careful about all of your decisions as you come into this full moon as well. Now the secondary ruler of Scorpio is sitting behind this full moon, Ketu, which is sitting there in the sign of Libra in the Swati nakshatra. This is excellent for your intuition, for going inward, for really perceiving things at a deeper level. This Swati nakshatra is connected to psychic abilities and all sorts of paranormal experiences, as it is a Rahu-ruled nakshatra. We also have Saturn, which is placed here in Aquarius, which will be aspecting onto this moon as well. Now, Saturn is sitting here in the jyotisha nakshatra, which is the 100 healers. So there's a huge theme around healing, around dealing with your traumas, dealing with your insecurities, dealing with your hangups in your relationships, all of this coming up during this full moon as well. So again, very intense full moon that we're coming into here. Now, Saturn also is getting ready to retrograde, and we will see that on June 16th coming up here very shortly. So this retrograde of Saturn is really getting us to review those areas that we need to work on, that we really need to dive into. This jyotisha nakshatra is all about deep research as well, really getting into the knowledge, getting into the information, getting into what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, and really finding the cure, finding the cause, finding the solution, getting to how can we heal and resolve these wounds and problems. Jyotisha also acts as a portal, opening us up to the metaphysical, to the spiritual. So again, all of these themes are coming very strongly with this full moon. So sitting with this full moon energy, this is really a big moment of looking at the areas where you feel defeated, looking at the areas that haven't worked out in the past. And this becomes especially true for those of you with dual signs also, as you've had your main houses, those Kendra houses, have been empty for some time now. So there's this feeling of this main area of your life being empty or void. For some of you, you have felt stuck. You felt like there's not a lot going on in your life. And so this is really a moment of reflecting on the things that haven't worked, the things that have made you felt defeated in the past, and really seeking what is the path and direction that will work for you, that is truly aligned with you. There's a lot of choices, a lot of things that are up in the air right now. And this is all about stepping into a brand new opportunity, a brand new experience. Of course, after the jyeshta nakshatra is Mula, which opens us up to a brand new doorway. This Mula nakshatra being the entrance way of our spiritual journey. So this is very intense in terms of finding what is that truth for you, what is that thing that is making you feel empowered, that is giving you true direction in life. Again, a lot of themes around inner strength, power, finding that sense of strength from within. A lot of this is deep diving, getting into all of these wounds, insecurities, fears, obstacles that you're running into. A lot of deep introspection taking place during this full moon. And this is all leading up to the realization of what path you will take. This is all about leading you in the direction that is best suited for you. And so definitely with this energy, you want to be cautious of any kind of impulsive decisions, jumping into decisions very quickly, making decisions based on emotion. You want to tune into your intuition, listen in with your inner voice. Take note of what your subconscious is bringing to the light. So let's go ahead and talk about how this full moon will impact you according to your zodiac sign. And again, this horoscope is mainly for the moon sign and for the ascendant, but you can also read it from other indicators such as your dasha sign. So if you look in your chart and see which dasha are you in, and that planet that rules the dasha, what sign is it placed in, you can put that sign in your first house and read the chart from that position. For many people, the Navamsa chart also resonates very strongly with them as well. So you could look at this from your ascendant in your Navamsa chart in that D9 divisional chart. Another indication that you can use is your sun sign as well. So starting off with Aries, this is a big moment because this is a full moon in your 8th house. You're going through a lot of transformation, a lot of big changes in your life. And there's a lot here in terms of really going inward and figuring out what direction you want to move into. The moon is your 4th house lord, so there's a lot going on in terms of your home, your domestic area of life. This is especially true because your ruler Mars has moved ahead into this 4th house in its debilitation, very tricky position, where there's a lot of issues that are popping up in the home environment. There's a lot that is up in the air right now where you have some major choices and decisions to make. And a lot of this is centered around relationships as well. big time for those of you who are in committed relationships to sort everything out, to lay everything out on the table. Some of you running into some conflicts and tricky situations here as this lunar node axis has been in your first and seventh house now. This Rahu energy really pulling you into a brand new direction, opening up new doorways and opportunities for you, and really changing who you are as a person. A lot of self-improvement and growth is taking place. But this is also leaving a void in the area of your relationship. This is also a big time that is associated with your wealth, your success, your prominence. Again, a lot of you thinking big time about your future. And so this moon is really asking you to look inward and to see what is it that you need to remove, to let go of in order to. For those of you with a Taurus sign, again, looking at this from your moon, your ascendant, your dasha sign, your navamsa ascendant, or your sun sign, this is a big moment here because this is going to be a full moon in one of your Kendra houses, those major houses. And this is taking place in your seventh house, all to do with relationship, with business, with partnership, contracts, all of this coming up. This full moon can be a time where you don't want to make any sort of quick decisions or changes around any sort of negotiations or contracts. You really want to pay very close attention to the small print if you have to make any sort of decisions. This is a big time where a lot of upheavals are coming up, a lot of things coming to the light that you were unaware of. So this is really a time to really get things sorted out. And this big Rahu Ketu axis in your 6th and 12th house has been all about this for some time now, where you have been doing a lot of reflection, a lot of deep diving. Some of you also reflecting a lot on the past and some of the major changes that have took place for you. Of course, this is a big time with Saturn that's sitting in that 10th house that's demanding a lot from you. A lot of you working really hard, working towards your goals and really focus on the task at hand. This is a time of hurdles. This is a time of challenges for many of you. This, of course, is your 9th house lord that has gone into the 10th house. So also boosting and pushing you into this future direction that you are taking. But again, a lot of you are feeling this heaviness, this weight, and this Rahu energy really pulling you inward. This is a big time of some major changes and obstacles that need to be overcome. This is demanding a lot of you, of course, because your ruler is in that 3rd house with Mars. You're being pushed to drive forward. You're being pushed to take on new opportunities. There's a lot of energy, a lot of determination that is pushing you forward at this time. And big time, of course, because the sun is illuminating that 1st house for you. Many of you are shining bright, feeling confident, energetic, and determined to push forward. And so with this, you don't want to run over anyone at this time. You want to really talk things through with your partner, with anyone who you're relating to, because you have this huge momentum where you are pushing forward. So you want to make sure that everyone is on board as you're moving ahead, that you're not leaving people behind at this time. Definitely you want to check in to make sure that everyone is coming along with you for this journey. Of course, this is highlighting business, but also intimate relationships. For those of you with the Gemini sign as your moon, sun, dasha sign, navamsa lord, or as your lagna, this is a big time where you are having a lot of hurdles and obstacles, and you might feel very sensitive coming into this transit. The moon, of course, is sitting in that 6th house, a very uncomfortable position for the moon. This can increase your sensitivity, your anxiety levels, your stress levels. You really want to take very close care of your health. That sun is urging you to move back into a space of peace, of self-care. All of this is coming up at this time as very important for you. Now, your ruler has been sitting with this Rahu Jupiter for some time now, and this is very challenging, but Mercury will move out eventually into your 12th house, which will give you a lot of deeper insight about how you want to move ahead. This Rahu Jupiter influence on your lord is very tricky, as Rahu is not making things clear for you in your direction. There's a lot of big hopes and dreams, but you want to be careful about making sure that you are really thinking things through and planning things out in a way that will suit you in the future. There's a lot of things where you want to be careful with this Rahu energy, where there are things that will come out as clear as Rahu and Jupiter move farther apart in your 11th house. This also becomes a big time for your finances, your security, all of this coming in. We have the moon, which is in one of those Artha houses, and also the dispositor of the moon is in an Artha house for you as well. So you're very focused at this time on your finances, on sorting out any kind of loans, debts, all of this. This is a big time of really getting your daily life and everything sorted out on a material level. For some of you, it's a bit difficult as Saturn is restricting this ninth house a little bit for many of you, where this is drawing you more inward to your local community, to your immediate surroundings. But many of you still planning about moving and changing location and long distance journeys, all of this coming in. This, of course, is an excellent transit for education, though, Saturn giving you a ton of discipline and focus in that ninth house. For those of you with the Cancer sign as your ascendant, moon, dasha sign, Navamsa ascendant, or sun sign, this is a major time because this is going to be a full moon in one of your trinal houses. So this is really coming up strong in your personality. You're feeling more emotional, more sensitive, more reactive. And you want to be careful about getting into conflicts, obstacles with others. The sun is sitting up there in your 11th house, which is getting you very connected with others. But the sun is ruling over your second house, giving a little bit of a challenge here. Definitely the way that you're speaking, the way that you're coming across to others is having a huge impact in your friend circle, in your network circle. And so any kind of conflict issues, this can affect you deeply, especially as the moon is your lord. So very sensitive to conflicts and obstacles. So definitely you want to pay close attention to your personal health, your mental health, all of this at this time. This full moon in your fifth house is really urging you to bring out some of your creative abilities, some of your knowledge, your talent, your skills, and really putting this to use. This is a big time where you're feeling very spontaneous, experimental. You're thinking about your career and how you want to move things forward. For some of you, this is even a big time where you're thinking about your education as well. The dispositor of this full moon is sitting in your first house with Venus. Mars in the first house, big energy, big drive. You're thinking about pushing forward in your life. And this can make you come across as very intense to other people, very much ambitious, driven in the way that you are pushing forward. A lot of passion also with Venus involved here. You are pushing for your desires, pushing for the things that you want to achieve. This is a big time for this. And this is excellent for your success in your career, all of your goals that you're pursuing. Again, this can impact your relationships with others, though. In your big social groups, big network circles, there can be some difficulties there. Other people seeing you as an authority figure for some of you as well, looking to you to lead the group. This is a big time for this. Now also we have this big energy in your 10th house, of course. K2 is sitting at the opposite end of this. This is the secondary ruler of this full moon. And we have all of this energy that is pushing you towards your career, pushing you towards your status, your success, your reputation. You're thinking about how you want to expand things with that Jupiter at Rahu and how you really want to put your skills to use. Mercury sitting in that 10th house. But K2 is pulling you into deep reflection. There's some things that you need to sit with, need to really think over, and to really think about what is going to make you happy, what's going to give you a sense of peace. K2 in the fourth, for some of you, can also make you very much interested in moving, changing location. This can be a big thing for you as well. There's a little bit of restlessness happening with this K2 fourth and moon fifth house. So this is all about finding clarity before jumping on impulsive decisions. For those of you with the Leo sign as your ascendant, your moon, your dasha sign, your Navamsa ascendant, or your sun sign, this is a big time because this is a full moon in one of your Kendra houses. Sitting here in your fourth house, you're feeling very sensitive, very emotional, very intense at this time. This could be a time where you're also feeling a little bit restless within the mind, wanting to change location as far as your home, thinking and planning about what you want to do next at this time. time is big, and you're shining bright in your reputation, how the public's seeing you. This is your Lord, the sun, that has gone into the 10th house of the public. This is a big time for you to shine, to pursue your ambitions. For those of you who are holding yourselves back, this is time to move forward. The sun's urging this in this 10th house. We have the dispositor of this full moon, Mars, which is sitting behind you in the 12th house. So again, this is pulling you into yourself. This is all about self-realization, taking that time to reflect on things, to reflect on where you're going. And there's a lot of things that are unclear for you at this time because this is sitting back in the 12th house. This is also Venus that's sitting back here, that third house lord. So this is really a time of contemplating, thinking things through as far as how you want to move forward. It's not really a time of change, but it's more so a time of pushing forward with the things that you have already started. For those of you with the Virgo sign as your ascendant, moon sign, dasha sign, navamsa ascendant, or sun sign, this will be a full moon in your third house. So this is really a time of sitting with some projects that have not been completed, taking the time to complete some old things that you've been working towards, or really thinking about what needs to be discarded, what needs to be put to rest. What is it that you need to change, to work towards at this time? Some of you are really reflecting on skills that you want to develop, things that you want to learn, new courses, all of this coming to mind. This is a big time for all of those decisions you've been putting off to really start to move in this direction. The moon, of course, is your 11th lord, which is all about your gains, all about the things you desire. And so this is a big time to push for those things. This is your 11th house lord sitting in the third house. It's all about your self-efforts, your confidence, your ability to push forward for this. This, of course, is also the dispositor of the full moon that is sitting in the 11th house. So this is all about your gains. It's all about your future. It's all about taking action, making connections with people to get the results that you want. This is Venus that's also sitting with this dispositor that is here in this 11th house. Big money planet for you. So again, this is a time to take on opportunities, to really come up with what is it that you want to move towards. Everything that's been put on hold, how do you want to move forward with this? This full moon is urging this. Of course, this is a time where some of you are worried a little bit about your financial security as well. We have K2 that's sitting in that second house for you. There's a lot going on with this 8th house activity, Rahu, Jupiter, Mercury. Of course, your ruler, Mercury, is sitting in that 8th house. So you're thinking about your security, your wealth, your business. All of this is coming to mind at this time. So again, big time to push forward, to make things happen for yourself. Of course, you want to be careful with any sort of quick, impulsive decisions because this is Rahu that is clouding this Jupiter that is sitting here in your 8th house. For some of you, this is a time of relationship opportunities as well. But really, this is all about you pushing towards your dreams, your goals, the things that you want to achieve in life. Saturn is also sitting in this 6th house for you, so it's all about discipline. It's all about your daily routine, doing things in a way that will help you to achieve results in your life. For those of you with the Libra sign as your ascendant, moon, dasha sign, navamsa ascendant, or sun sign, this will be a full moon in your 2nd house. So this is a time of letting go of the past for many of you. This 2nd house, you're really feeling sentimental. You're feeling connected to your upbringing, your family life, reflecting on things. This is also a time to be careful with your diet as well. This moon coming into the 2nd house can also fluctuate things around your diet and food intake. So you want to watch this as well. You can see some fluctuations in your finances also. The sun is sitting in that 8th house, though, bringing you into opportunities to increase your wealth, to find new ways of bringing in new sources of income. This is a big time for this. We have the dispositor of this full moon that has gone into your 10th house in conjunction with your Lord. So you're feeling fired up in your career, in your pursuits, your ambitions. All of this is becoming important to you. This is a big time for pushing towards your goals and making things happen. You want to take it easy on yourself though, because Mars is aspecting onto your 1st house where you have K2. So some of you are feeling drained, feeling a lack of energy with this K2 position, and Mars is really pushing on your physical body, your health, all of this. So really you want to focus towards your goals, but you also want to find ways to take care of your health as well. This is very important. Saturn also is sitting there in your 5th house, which is very auspicious. Saturn, of course, is your yoga karaka, sitting in its Mutrikon sign there in the 5th house, a very fortunate house. So this is excellent for you. This is helping you to move forward. It's helping you to push into a brand new direction. But you want to take things slow. Saturn demands patience, discipline. This is all becoming important to you. We have all of this energy in your 7th house, dragging things out, people pulling on your attention. So taking that time to yourself, taking that time for self-care is very important. For those of you with the Scorpio sign, for your ascendant, moon, dasha sign, Navamsa ascendant, or sun sign, this will be a full moon in your 1st house. Big moment of change for you. This is your ascendant, your 1st house. This is you. So you're going through changes. You're making major changes. If this is your ascendant, then you're changing your physical body or your fashion sense. If it's your moon sign, you're changing your thinking, your feelings, and your fashion as well. If it is your Navamsa Lagna, you're also changing your mindset. If it's your sun, you're changing the way that you're seeing things. So this is a big moment where you're going through some major changes and fluctuations. The moon, of course, rules over your 9th house, so it has a lot to do with your belief system, your philosophy. This is changing and fluctuating for you to fit what really serves you, what really aligns with you. So some of you are really going through some changes. You're learning new things. You're incorporating new knowledge into your everyday life, which is changing your view and perspective. Your ruler is also sitting in this 9th house, acting as the dispositor of this full moon in conjunction with Venus. So this is a big time of learning, of experience, of travel, of opportunities. You're really expanding your horizons at this time. You're gaining a great sense of perspective. And we have this Saturn that is sitting here in your 4th house, which really is a bit of a tricky position for some of you. Some of you feeling a bit of loneliness or stuckness at this time. Some of you thinking about major changes that you want to make, a restlessness about moving, but it's not quite the right time with Saturn sitting in the 4th house. We have Rahu that is sitting here in this conjunction with Jupiter, Mercury. You're rearranging your life, your daily habits, your exercise routine, your diet, everything is changing. You're decluttering your life. You're making some major changes in your everyday physical routine. This also is impacting you at a psychological level. Your co-ruler Ketu is sitting back in that 12th house. So you're going through internal changes whether you realize this or not. This is definitely a time where your intuition is increasing, where you should keep a dream journal, where you should be listening to your inner voice. This is excellent for anyone into spirituality, meditation, anyone into astrology, mystical subjects, all of this. Great position for deep research and contemplation with Ketu sitting back in that 12th house. For those of you with a Sagittarius ascendant, moon sign, dasha sign, Navamsa ascendant, or sun sign, this will be a full moon back in your 12th house. A lot of deep subconscious factors that are taking place. This is a time where a lot of you are turning inward. And this is your 8th lord, of course, that has gone back into the 12th house. So this can also be a time where you're thinking about foreign travel, foreign cultures, foreign philosophies, about mystical sciences, deep research, all of this coming up. This full moon is urging you, though, to go inward. There's a lot of things emotionally, psychologically that are happening at a deeper level that is requiring you to take some time to yourself. This full moon is aspecting onto the sun, of course, which is sitting in your 6th house. So your daily life, your health, your diet, all of this is lit up at this time. Your work life, all of this. You can be very authoritative in your everyday work life as well. People seeing you as a leader, people seeing you as someone who's highly ambitious, driven in this area. But again, there is something big here about your health that is also happening at a subconscious level. So you want to take some self-care, take some time for inner reflection. We have Saturn that is sitting in that 3rd house aspecting onto this full moon. And so this is a time where you are exerting yourself. You're putting a lot of effort into this forward momentum. Saturn here pushing you forward, but also it's a time of taking your time, being disciplined and patient in how you are moving forward. Saturn is demanding this of you. And the co-ruler of this Scorpio sign is sitting in your 11th house. So there's There's a lot of focus here around going inward. K2, decluttering some friends and connections from your life for some of you, but also this is a time where you're being a little detached from your gains, from your outward persona and reputation. All of this Rahu's pulling you back inward to explore yourself, your talents, your gifts, your knowledge, all of this. This is an excellent position for your education for some of you. Mercury, Jupiter, both planets of intelligence, and Rahu's in there in the 5th house. Excellent for any kind of learning you want to do. This full moon really is a big time of taking that time to go inward. Even the dispositor of this full moon, Mars, is sitting there in your 8th house. Huge placement for astrology, for mystical sciences, deep research, dissecting things. Mars is a warrior. He has weapons, and he's going into the 8th house of all things that are hidden and secretive, all of these deep, mysterious subjects and deep philosophies. So this is an excellent position for your learning and forward progress. For those of you with a Capricorn ascendant, moon sign, dasha sign, Navamsa ascendant, or sun sign, this will be a full moon in your 11th house. Great time for opportunities, surprises coming into your life for some of you. You want to see the condition of any planets in your 11th or 5th house that is interfering with this moon, of course. The moon is your 7th house lord coming into the 11th house. So this is a big time for opportunities to increase your wealth in business pursuits. If you have any business contracts, if you're in a business partnership, if you're in the business world in any way, this is excellent for your growth, excellent for wealth coming in with this full moon. You're finalizing something in this area. Now we have Saturn that is sitting in that 2nd house for you, where you're working big time towards your material security, all of this coming up during this transit. For some of you, some scarcity, some difficulties around finances, some things that are making you a little bit fearful in this area. But this really is about working towards all of this. Of course, Saturn is the lord of your house. It's becoming empowered by going into this 2nd house, where you're really finding a sense of stability for yourself, where this has been a very difficult time for many of you, as Saturn has been back in the 1st house. Here in the 2nd house in its Mula Trikona sign, this is helping you a lot in gaining that sense of security beneath your feet. We have K2, which is a co-ruler of Scorpio, that's sitting here in your 10th house. So many of you also have been feeling a little bit withdrawn or detached from your career environment. Some of you really thinking about doing things differently in your career, taking a different route, a different path, or some of you just feeling burnt out, feeling frustrated, feeling stuck in some way. This is happening here in this 10th house. All of this activity in the 4th house drawing you inward. Some of you feeling restless in your home environment, wanting to change location, wanting to travel, wanting to do different things. You want to be careful though with Rahu in there. There's not a lot of clarity. So you want to wait a little bit for some of you who are trying to make impulsive decisions around moving or changing of location. We have Mars, which is the dispositor of this full moon that has gone into your 7th house with Venus. Very passionate. You're very passionate in your relationships and your dealings with others. This is excellent for your ambitions and achievements in career. And of course, if you're in an intimate relationship, this is excellent for the passion, for the spark. There's a lot that is going on here in this area for you. You want to be careful about arguments, though, because Mars is a bit of a tricky planet for you coming into the 7th house. You want to really sort out any kind of open conflicts in this area. This can definitely lead to some issues down the road. For those of you with Aquarius ascendant, moon sign, dasha sign, Navamsa ascendant, or sun sign, this is a full moon that is taking place in your 10th house. So a major full moon for you, as this is in one of your Kendra houses, your main houses. And the sun's lighting up that 4th house for you. Many of you focusing a lot on your inner happiness and sense of peace, trying to find a sense of peace within yourself. And a lot of you also putting a spotlight on your family, your home environment. All of this is becoming very important to you. The full moon taking place in this 10th house can indicate some changes around your reputation, your career, all of this coming up. The moon is a bit of a tricky planet for you, of course, as it's ruling over the 6th house of your chart. So for some of you, you can run into some obstacles, conflicts that can cause a lot of emotional challenges for you along the lines of your reputation and career. There can be sudden changes, sudden situations. You want to look at the condition of planets in the 10th and 4th house for yourself. This can be a time of promotion for sudden surprises, but it can also be a time of stepping down, of making major changes and decisions about where you are headed. The dispositor of this full moon is Mars, which is sitting in that 6th house. So it's helping you in a way. This is giving you a great ability to come back from defeat, obstacles, challenges, competitors. Venus is sitting with this Mars, which is helping this as well. Venus, of course, is a very auspicious planet for you as it rules over your 9th house coming into this 6th house. So definitely this is a time of career opportunities, for opportunities to level up, to advance in this area. It's all about your effort. It's all about your courage to keep going. And of course, you want to pay very close to your health, to your mental health. All of this becomes very important to you. This 6th house, very sensitive with Cancer ruling this and Mars coming in here. A lot of emotional things that are taking place. So you want to find some mental peace coming into this transit. But definitely if you are pushing yourself past these obstacles, you're finding success in this area. We have Rahu, which is your co-ruler, which is sitting in this 3rd house for you. So you're feeling fired up, ready to go, ambitious, driven, determined. It's coming into this conjunction with Jupiter and Mercury, though, where there's a little bit of confusion around some decisions, around some things that need to be sorted out. So there is a lack of clarity around certain things in your life, especially when it comes to money, financial situations. You want to be careful about any sort of speculation, gambling, all of this. We have K2, which is sitting at the opposite end of this in your 9th house. So this is a big time of exploration, of travel, of getting into philosophy, religion, politics, all sorts of deeper subjects. This definitely can take you into this area. And a lot of deeper truths that you can tap into through this K2 9th house. It's all about finding your direction in life, finding your path, finding what's meaningful to you. This is becoming very important. And of course, the main ruler of your chart, which is Saturn, is placed right in your ascendant, empowering you at this time. You are having the strength, the resiliency to overcome many obstacles. For those of you with a Pisces ascendant, moon sign, dasha sign, Navamsa ascendant, or sun sign, this will be a full moon in your 9th house. So you're making major decisions about your education, about future traveling, future plans, all of this. You're open to many possibilities and things that you want to explore at this time. The sun is aspecting over to this in the 3rd house, so it's lighting up your sense of confidence, your sense of self-esteem. You're wanting to explore, you're wanting to take on obstacles, you're wanting to go for your pursuits, and this could be a very creative time as well. For those of you who are into the arts, into music, the sun is lighting up this area for you. Now, the dispositor of this full moon is Mars, which has gone into your 5th house. Mars is very auspicious as it rules over that 9th house for you. And your 2nd house, big opportunities for increase in your wealth and in your success as Mars comes back into this 5th house here. Mars, of course, is debilitated though, so you can become very emotional, very rash about your decisions, but for the most part, Mars is helping you in pushing forward. You want to really take your time with your decision making. Venus is in this conjunction with Mars in this 5th house, so this can be a time of romantic opportunities for some of you as well. A lot of creativity, a lot of passion that is getting activated with this conjunction. We have this Rahu, Jupiter, Mercury that's been sitting here in your 2nd house, K2 at the other end of this. So a lot of you rearranging things around your finances, around your friend circle, around your security. This is a big thing for many of you. And of course, your ruler Jupiter has pushed ahead into the 2nd house. So this can bring you opportunities to increase your wealth at this time. Saturn, though, is sitting back in that 12th house. So it's all about finding balance between your spending and saving habits. Saturn can draw out a lot of expenses from you, but it's also demanding that you have discipline to restore and to maintain your wealth at this time. So this becomes a huge theme for you. This full moon really is urging you to learn and to explore opportunities that will help you to improve and better your life. this is what this becomes all about for you.